talking about my internship today. And my internship was at Scenic View Academy. It is located in Provo. It's right by the mouth of the canyon, if you guys know where that is. I heard about Scenic View Academy while I was working at Wasatch Mental Health. One of the directors at Scenic View Academy used to work with my coworkers at Wasatch. And when they heard that I was looking for an internship, their first thought was they wanted me to be able to continue to work my 40 hours a week and do my internship. So they thought, I will get you in contact with this person, and from there we'll go ahead and see if maybe you could work evenings or mornings, the days that I didn't work, and work maybe Saturdays. So they gave me the contact information, and I went ahead and I set up an email, and they sent me to the right person. They called me in for an interview to talk to me a little bit about what my degree was in, what I was hoping to get out of an internship. Following that, I was able to continue to talk to them about the details about when I would like to start my internship. They called me in for a follow-up, and that's when they said that they would be interested in having me come on as a volunteer, and that they were going to be trying a brand new internship position, which was a skills specialist. It was meant to be more like a student mentor position, and it was in order to help the staff get feedback in regards to how the students were doing while the staff members were not there. So basically, Scenic View Academy, for those of you who don't know, is an academy for autistic adults as well as adults with learning deficits. So this can be anywhere with students who are 18 and over. We have a limited amount of students every term, but basically there are different ways that they can go through the academy. Most popular is the vocational path, which allows them to basically get job experience, learn about the skills that come with having a job and maybe even getting a job. And then they work on campus with supervision from staff. Once they feel like they are ready and they have gone through the 3 different job options at Scenic View, they can be considered for an off-campus internship. And most of the time when those go well, they will be offered a position to continue with the company they did the internship with, leading them to have a job and more independence. So the ultimate goal for Scenic View is to allow students who have learning deficits and autism reach independence to the most possible independence they could. They offer residential treatment, so basically they have dorms where they're able to stay and they are on their own, and then they also have apartments that they can move up to once their team feels like they are ready. And then the final step would be to move out of Scenic View and graduate and leave with a job and a apartment outside of Scenic View. And the ultimate goal, like I said, is to help them get the skills necessary to live an independent lifestyle. The responsibilities that I had at Scenic View seem like a little bit, but these sum it up. I was helping with morning check-ins, which meant that there was a few students who struggled with hygiene. And so what they did was they asked me to join another staff member in the mornings and basically take attendance for these morning check-ins. And the attendance included asking them when they had showered, if they had washed their hair. A lot of times the questions had to be specific. So did you wash your hair with soap or with shampoo? Sorry. Did you wash your body with soap? And then we asked, did you brush your teeth with toothpaste? Are you wearing deodorant? Are your clothes clean? And then towards the end of my internship, they started asking and taking data for sleep schedule. So we were asking what time they got in bed, what time they actually fell asleep, what time they woke up, and what the quality of their sleep was. So this allowed us to kind of track and see if their sleeping schedules was affecting their hygiene. Most of the time, the morning check-ins are for new students or students who we see that are struggling with hygiene issues. Another one of my responsibilities was one-on-one. So during work shifts, so there's 3 different work sites on campus, and that's kitchen, custodial, and grounds. So I worked with a few students in the kitchen who were struggling with several different things. For example, one of my students was in her mid-30s and had never worked before, and parents have never asked her to work. Parents have always been too involved with supporting her, and therefore she struggled with the idea of work, not only feeling wise, but also physically. She was no longer able to do a lot because her body was not used to it. So I had to work one-on-one with her and make sure that she was getting tasks done while she was at work, making sure that she was on time to work and participating and had a good attitude about it. And that was something that took probably my entire internship, but it was rewarding to see that she was able to reach her goals as we started carefully using her some motives to help her and motivate her. I had several other different students who needed different kind of support. For example, I had another student who was in their mid-30s as well, and that's probably the oldest we have at Scenic View. And he needed support because he had a really hard time controlling his anger and emotions. So we had to be able to track and make sure that we kept his emotions regulated and that he was able to control them during his work shifts as much as possible, because in order to live an independent lifestyle, we feel that that is such an important thing to be able to do. Another one of my tasks was to help students. We did have a specific student who has a sleeping disorder. And so my job for a while was to meet them at a certain time in the med room and help them get their meds. If 5 minutes after the time scheduled they were not there, I was to prompt them to come, wait a few minutes, and then jot down and make sure that I specified whether they came to get their meds, what time they did, and whether they were prompted. And this kind of helped just track his sleep schedule in order to make sure that, one, he wasn't crashing anywhere, because he would crash in random places on campus. But it was really interesting to see how there are so many ways to help these students. So how did Scenic View Academy benefit from me? I think that there was a big need for support. The students that I worked with really required consistency and support on an individual basis. So this kind of wraps up my 3 points. And without the help of interns, there's not enough staff. So there is not enough people to help these individuals who need that consistency, support, and individual attention. So I think that Scenic View Academy was able to benefit from my time, as I was able to give these students the time that they needed, and we were able to track behaviors and see how it makes a difference in their lives in order to help them and motivate them to make changes. Some of the personal benefits that I got from my internship at Scenic View was that I challenged my decision-making skills. A reason for that is because I was constantly having to face different decisions that I did not feel that sometimes I was capable of doing, but I was able to, as I got more experience and learned from the other staff and shadowed them, I was able to challenge the fact that I needed to make a decision and stick with it and hope that it was a good call. And I'm grateful to know that I was never, as long as I know, I was never wrong with a decision I made, meaning that I made decisions that were according to a student's need. And I don't think that would have happened unless I would have actually challenged my decision-making skills. I was able to learn so much about different learning deficits and autism, and And I'm so grateful for that, because now I find that that's something that I really enjoyed learning about. And I grew so much love for these people, because they're just like us and they just need a little bit more help and patience. And I was grateful that I was able to be a part of that. I learned about the impact of environmental influences, and that itself reminds me a little bit about what we learned in school. And so basically being able to look at students and their success and their development and seeing how they were impacted by everything around them. So their lifestyles before they came to Scenic View, and as well as the lifestyle they were having at Scenic View. It was interesting to see all of that as I was working with the students. I'm also grateful that I was able to meet amazing people, both students and staff. They were all unique and they were all very Christ-like in my opinion. So I was very grateful for that. So in order to compare coursework, or one of the questions was to compare one coursework versus my internship, or something that I did during my coursework. And the thing that pops out to me is the Bronbrenner's theory. And that's because, like I mentioned before, a lot of these students, most of the time, have been influenced immensely by their surroundings. And so being able to see my 35-year-old student who was never asked to work or asked to challenge herself, that impacted her life so much that even though we changed what was around her, so even though we changed her mesosystem and she was away from her siblings and parents, and we changed her microsystem up a bit as well, she was still having such a hard time to get over that because of that reason. So it was something that really impacted me, because we also saw students who had more of a positive influence from home, and it was able to carry on to their next area, which was Scenic View and outside of the home. So I just thought it was really interesting how all of this really relates. One of the other questions was, would I recommend Scenic View Academy to future students? And the answer is yes. Although I was not specifically aiming towards the clientele that I worked with, I thought it was an amazing opportunity to get to know more about it. And it's something that continues to interest me. I think that family is a big part of the development of these students. And so being able to work with them as individuals, no matter what their family circumstances were, was really interesting to me. And like I said, learning about learning deficits and which are learning disabilities and just autism in general, was very interesting to me. And so I think it definitely is such a positive environment, and I learned so much, and I was able to learn so much because of how positive it is and how open and inviting it is. So yes, I would recommend it. If you guys are interested, I added a link to scenicviewacademy.org/volunteer. The HR director is Jared Davis. So if you guys are interested, I'm sure you can email them, and they're always so grateful for help, because like I said, all these students require support, one-on-one support to be more specific, and they require consistency. So the more people we can find to help them, the better. I hope you guys enjoyed my short presentation. And like I said, feel free to reach out.